Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Do not adjust your sets. We're staying black and white for just another minute. Everything looks that little bit cooler and that little bit classier in black and white, don't you think? Including yours truly. And I have got a very cool and classy little chronograph to show you today from a brand called Corniche. Now, this one was sent to me for free by Corniche. I don't have to send it back. But as always, if you're interested in picking up one of these for yourself, don't just take my word for it. I know Bruce Williams reviewed this very watch a couple of months ago, and it is a very classically styled, more than a whiff of Patek Philippe in here, but that's no bad thing at $425, I don't think. Ceramic dial, it really is a bit of a looker. But the question today is that beauty more than just skin deep? Let's flip the camera and find out, shall we? And there we are back in glorious Technicolor for the remainder of the review. I'm going to mix this one up just a little bit. Hopefully it will make sense why in about 5 minutes time. All the usual review good stuff will be here though, but we will not be having a lume video today, for there is no lume on the hands or the dial, and there will be no movement accuracy report. The movement in this one, it says there hybrid chronograph on the dial, is the Seiko VK64 Mecha Quartz chronograph. Super accurate, plus or minus 20 seconds per month. Change the battery out every 3 years. If you haven't owned or handled a Mecha Quartz movement yet, you ought to do yourself a favour and have a go at one. They really are fantastic. So 39.5mm in diameter. This one is 11mm thick because those little thin Mecha Quartz movements mean you don't have to have a big beefy watch. 48mm lug tip to lug tip. As you can see there is quite a severe rake on those vintage style claw lugs. 20mm lug width, and on the supplied leather strap, this one weighs in at 83 grams. So it's not a big watch, it's not a heavy watch, but it is a gorgeous watch. I mean, just look at that thing. As I said, there's definitely a whiff of Patek about it, some Lang & Son in there also, shape of the pushers, the layout, the twin registers there, and the train track around the outer edge there really does have that kind of heritage look and feel about this one, but for a fraction of the price of the other watches that I have mentioned. 316L stainless steel case, crown, pushers. It's a 3-piece case, smooth bezel, screw down case back, and that is a piece of dead flat sapphire crystal covering the dial with anti-reflective undercoating. The dial itself, let's get a zoom in and have a look at that one. Now the dial is made of black ceramic. I have not featured all that many watches with ceramic dials on the channel. Certainly not many less than $500 US asking price anyway. It looks great, really kind of deep, lustrous sheen to it, especially when combined with those high polished edged, chamfered edged applied indices. So, twin register layout, Biocompax layout. We have got a 24-hour indicator there at the 3 o'clock, and we have a 60-minute chrono at the 9 o'clock. One pusher, the top pusher to engage the chrono. Being a Mecha Quartz, this one ticks 5 times per second, so you get the look and the feel of a automatic or manual wind chrono, a mechanical chrono, but with the convenience and accuracy that is afforded by the Mecha Quartz. One push to stop, one push of the bottom pusher reset. Love the colour scheme here. So ceramic black dial, you've got those silver applied indices and silver leaf-shaped hour and minute hands, and you've got all that crisp white printing around there. Recessed registers as well at the 3 and the 9, and you've got a bright white chrono hand. Very easy to identify that one when it is operating. Minimal branding, Corniche heritage printed in white under the 12, and hybrid chronograph printed above the index at 6. Couple of things missing from the dial. We don't have any date complication. This VK64 does have the option of including a date complication down at the 6 o'clock, but Corniche have kept this one super clean by deleting that. And perhaps you've noticed already, no ticking second hand. So it's a quartz, but you'd be hard pushed to know it was quartz. I think this is only the second watch that I've seen using this specific layout, and I think it's a great choice. It's a quartz, but you'd be hard pushed to tell it was a quartz. Case back is screw on, giving this one 50 meters of water resistance. You're probably not going to be getting this one too wet, let's be honest. And it features an attractive picture of a couple of fields and some trees. Apparently this watch is commemorating the 5th anniversary of the brand. Still not quite sure what the field and the trees have got to do with things though. Case finishing is nice, high quality, fine horizontal brush on the mid case and those curved lugs. We've got a little chamfered edge, high polished upper lug and high polished smooth bezel, and on the other side high polished edges to those chrono pushers and a little C for Corniche on the crown. The leather strap is a faux croc embossed genuine leather, stamped on the underside Heritage Chronograph and Corniche. It does feature a butterfly clasp, again with the words Corniche etched into that high polished mechanism. There is a second black suede strap included with the package. Both of these have quick release spring bars, but only one butterfly clasp, so you're going to have to transfer that between the two if you do want to swap them over. Now, getting the watch onto my 7-inch wrist, I think it looks fantastic. 39.5mm, you know, it's a dressier style, vintage style watch, so slightly smaller is okay, and yet it doesn't look underwhelming. I think it is a nice compromise between the vintage aesthetic and contemporary sizing. And that's it zoomed out a little further. Still pretty legible because of the silver hands, the high polished hands against that black ceramic dial. Very classy looking one, this one. The white, the black and the silver all complement each other very nicely indeed. And when you get it outside, you get some nice light play from the black ceramic dial and that sapphire crystal with a bit of AR coating on the underside there. 48mm lug tip to lug tip is perhaps slightly longer than you would have expected from a watch at 39.5mm diameter, but because those lugs curve quite quickly and quite rapidly, it fits me really nicely. This all sounds great, Jodie. What was that beauty being skin deep reference that you made in the introduction? Well, I've got a few moans and niggles about this one. I like it. I think that if you're after a sort of heritage looking but contemporary sized and with a contemporary movement in the back of it, occasional wear dress watch, this one makes an awful lot of sense. You can keep this in your watch box, you can come back to it in a month or 2 months time when you have occasion to wear it, and it's still going to be ticking away or not ticking away because it doesn't feature a second hand, but the time is going to be set, the time's going to be accurate, and it's going to be ready to go. That makes a lot of sense. The sizing's good and it looks so classy. But I think they could have made it a little bit better if they had reapportioned some of the money that they spent on this one. Those chrono pushers, for example, are not the most rigid things I have encountered. They don't exactly fill you with confidence. There's definitely a little bit more wobble and a little bit more play than I would have liked. Faux croc embossed leather dull finish is about the most boring strap that they could have put on this watch. It looks okay, it's quite comfortable, but you don't get a great smell from it. And as much as I always appreciate extras, I would rather have had one decent strap than two kind of half-hearted ones. And then there's the packaging. There's a reason I didn't show you the box at the beginning of the review and I said I was mixing it up a little bit. There is a rather interesting British expression. All fur coat and no knickers. Now you take that one north of the border and it becomes fur coat, nae knickers, meaning having a superficially positive appearance that is belied by the reality. And this Corniche is a little bit like that. I think there is too much packaging here for a $425 watch, and I think it's money that could and should have been spent on the leather straps, on the pushers. You get the idea, I'm sure. A certificate of origin. I mean, who cares really about a certificate of origin and a specific reference number for the watch? Nice little polishing cloth, but this is all a little bit fancy. I'll admit it, I always get nervous when I see a piano black presentation box. Not just because they're terribly shiny and a nightmare to film, but I always feel that too much money is spent on the presentation box and too little on the watch. It's almost like the company is trying to hide something. And that's kind of the vibe that I get with all of this additional bump with the Corniche Heritage Chronograph. And then there's the website. If you look at the Corniche website and click on the Our Story, there's a beautiful tale of how we used to spend our summer holidays in France. There's so many references to France, the Côte d'Azur, a bunch of other beautiful seaside resorts, and yet Corniche are a Swedish-based company. So again, there's just this slightly uncomfortable disconnect between the presentation and the reality. Don't get me wrong, I think it is a gorgeous watch and I can totally see this working for someone who's looking for a kind of classy everyday watch that's always going to have the right time, or an occasional wear dress watch, and again, one you can just pick up out the box and pop on your wrist. Perhaps I would have been more comfortable recommending it to you had it been $375 with one decent strap and without all that unnecessary packaging bump. So there you have it, a cool and classy little chronograph from Corniche. It really is a bit of a looker, this one, and I love the fact that it doesn't have a ticking second hand. Perhaps slightly disconcerting until you get used to it, but once you get used to it, you really appreciate that it's a quartz, but you don't know that it's a quartz. However, I can't get past the feeling that perhaps they'd be better off spending a bit less money on packaging and a bit more money on the watch itself. Fur coat, nae knickers. Perhaps that's doing it an injustice, but I'm sure you know what I mean. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.